rising tuition rates in Louisiana might discourage students from trying to go to college. This is really bad for us since we are already one of the lowest states in average IQ. The result of more students going to college would help the economy with more blue-collar workers, and the average IQ would go up with the extra education gained. Tuition in Louisiana rose by 96.8%, which is $4,729 per student from 2008 to 2019, the largest percentage increase of any state. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities reported. Tuition and fees at LSU increased 155% over the same period, according to data provided by LSU's Office of Budget and Planning. Louisiana state spending per student dropped 37.7%, the second largest decrease of any state. Louisiana spends $4,340 less per student than it did in 2008. The total cost of attending LSU, including tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, and other expenses, increased 109% from 2008 to 2019. In 2008, the total cost was $15,709. In 2019, the cost increased to $32,960 for in-state undergraduate students. State-funded universities have gone from being 80% funded by the state and 20% funded by tuition to almost 80% funded by tuition and fees and 20% state support. Many high school students have to worry about having student debt and taking out student loans to help pay for college. College students can struggle to keep up even with their scholarships, which try and help pay and take out a chunk of the tuition, but the amounts are no longer high enough to cover. So now they have to rely on extra sources like student loans to pay for college. But with the student loans, they now have to worry about heavy student debt once they're done with college.
I think it's horrible, and I dislike it because it doesn't give people with lesser backgrounds opportunity to get a good education, especially ones that are needed for the type of jobs these days. And I'm not sure that the government's going to do anything about it. Yes, that's another problem. The scholarships aren't worth it. They barely cover anything, even if you do have them. Like a lot of the colleges nowadays, they're in the 5 figures, I think. Especially the higher tier ones that I'm known. It's just that the scholarships just aren't worth how much effort that you need to put in to get them. You've got to be exceedingly good in school to be able to get them, and they don't pay off everything. I've had that feeling before, and it was because, wow, I thought it was going to be good and I wasn't going to have to pay anything to be able to go. And I was really dumb, because it turns out you're going to have to pay cars worth of money to be able to go. And that sucks, because in the past they had government programs to be able to make people go to college for free. And if I remember, it's ridiculous amount of the stuff they want you to pay. And if you need supplies in college, they're going to make you pay for that. And you're going to pay for stuff anyways, but if you go to them for stuff, they're going to make you pay twice or triple the amount that you would have had to pay for it from a store. Kind of, but I do think that the colleges need to stop adjusting the tuition rate to be so high, because it's increasing higher than the inflation in our country is. And you can look it up, but that's true. And it's crazy.
States
1.5 trillion.
And I know I haven't been here that long. It wasn't that long ago since I was in college myself. When I was in college in 2006, do you recall where the aggregate debt was then?
I don't, but it was substantially less than 1 trillion.
I think it was around about $500 billion. Does that sound about right?
It does.
So in other words, in the last 10 years since I got out of school, the aggregate amount of student debt in this country has tripled in the last 10 years. Is that fair?
Yes.
And while we've done that, I think it's interesting to note that we've also been disinvesting at the same time in some of the federal support services that are really critical. So in 1980, my belief is, or my understanding is that the Pell Grant covered, the maximum Pell Grant was about 76% of the cost of attendance for a 4-year school, about 76% in 1980. Is that around correct? Do you know where it is today?
It is about a quarter.
Got it. So, in other words, the amount of student debt has tripled over the last 10 years, and over the last 30 years or so, we've gone from, about 40 years, we've gone from about 76% of the cost of attendance of a Pell Grant has slipped to about a quarter. Is that fair?